Hold on to those reins and get ready for a ride. What kind of ride, you ask? A Sims 4 horse knowledge ride, of course. You're galloping into a lot of information, and so naturally we'll begin with the basics. Horses can be made in Creator Sim with lots of customization available, and you can also purchase them from horse beds, horse feeders, ranch community boards, and the equestrian center located in New Appaloosa. Purchasing a horse will cost 1,000 simoleons, but know that you can also buy a rescue horse for 250 simoleons. Though keep in mind that rescue horses will often have traits that make them a little bit trickier to deal with. Horses can breed and give birth to foals too, which we'll talk more about later. Note that it's a very G-rated woohoo, just in case you were worried about what you were about to see. Now, horses are like cats and dogs in the sense that they'll be registered as a household member, yet sadly you cannot play as them or control them directly. However, you can still control many aspects of their life through your sim. Horses also have 3 life stages. When played on normal lifespan, they'll be a foal for 7 days, before becoming an adult horse for 50 days, before finally aging into an elder. Old age is the only way that horses can pass away. However, know that if you neglect your horse's needs and don't care for them, then they will be taken away because they deserve better. If you want your foal or adult horse to age up to the next stage right away, then you can purchase horse age up treats in the Outback store in New Appaloosa for 150 simoleons. And on the other hand, if you don't want your horses to age, then know that turning aging off will stop your horses from aging. Note that whether checked or unchecked, the animal aging setting didn't appear to stop my horses from aging up. When it comes to caring for your horses, you'll want to pay attention to their 5 needs, being hunger, energy, fun, social, and hygiene. Hovering over your horse can help you see the status of these needs, as well as what mood your horse is in. That's right, just like Sims, horses can experience various moods. For example, happy, confident, sad, angry, tense, and dazed. And horses experiencing good moods will generally be more cooperative than those experiencing negative ones. Looking at horses' needs, for hunger you'll want an animal feeder for them to eat, which can be filled for 30 simoleons or alternatively for free with prairie grass. You can buy a prairie grass patch for 5 simoleons and harvest it for hay, and know that the grass from this patch will regrow over time. Horses can also eat prairie grass directly from the ground as well. If you want a super cute horse feeding experience, then from the horse care section you can hand feed them various foods, such as hay, fruits, and vegetables. And watching this absolutely sparks joy. Note that if needed, then you can click on feeders to direct your horses to eat from them. For a horse's energy, you'll want a horse bed, and you can assign horses to a bed as well. Ideally, a horse's bed will be undercover or in a stable, and stables are made using existing build and buy objects like walls, fences, gates, pillars, and roofing, which means that you can customize them to look however you like. As you can see, I want only the best for my horse Mint Biscuit. Horse beds will need to be cleaned every now and then, and I should flag that horses don't absolutely need a bed, as they can kind of sleep anywhere, but it's certainly nice to give them a bed. Horses have fatigue as well, and this will drop when on horse rides or while training on obstacles. Note that the endurance skill, which I'll cover a little later, will help your horse to fatigue slower, and that drinking from water troughs will help your horse to recover from fatigue more quickly too. Also consider filling your animal feeders with harvested prairie grass hay, which will also reduce fatigue for horses who eat it. Similarly to animal feeders, you can click on troughs to direct a horse to drink. You know, just in case you're worried that your horse isn't taking their hydration seriously. To help a horse with their fun, you'll want to buy them a big ball to play with. Socials like talking to or telling your horse a joke will increase their fun too, as will going on rides and having your horse play with other horses. Once your horse has acquired some jumping and agility skill levels, then they can autonomously interact with relevant obstacles to increase their fun as well. When it comes to social, you just want to make sure that you're interacting with your horse so that they feel loved, or that they have other horses to interact with. And finally, there is hygiene, which can be improved through horse care interactions like brushing their coat or cleaning their hooves. Now, as much as you love your horses, know that they are going to pee and poop, often, everywhere, and without warning. It's all part of the fun, or at least that's what I keep telling myself. Now when you clean up or pop the giant pile of poop into your inventory, you'll gain some manure, and you can sell this for a small amount of simoleons, or alternatively use it as fertilizer when gardening. Finally, if you're struggling to take care of your horses by yourself, then know that you can use your phone to hire a ranch hand to help you out. Now that you've got the basics down, let's saddle up and look at riding horses and the horse riding skill for regular sims, as well as the 4 skills that your horses can train, being temperament, endurance, agility, and jumping. To ride a horse, start by mounting it, and ideally you want your horse to be in a good mood when you do so that they are more cooperative. If they're in a bad mood, then interact with them to try and make them happier first. You know, ideally you don't want to be bucked off, or maybe you live for the drama and secretly do. That's cool too. Once you're on and your horse is happy, then you can choose to go for a general ride around, or travel to any place on the map of your choosing. Note that your sims will look extremely uncomfortable atop a horse during early horse riding levels, but over time they will get much better. While you'll only see others riding horses around Chestnut Ridge, you yourself can take a horse riding just about anywhere, with some of the more obscure hidden worlds being a little trickier to navigate. Child sims can also ride horses, but know that they'll be unable to take on any obstacles while riding them. And when riding horses, child sims will gain both the motor and the horse riding skill. And this all leads us to, you guessed it, the horse riding skill, which as you would expect is trained by riding horses. And the ideal mood to train this skill is being confident. Being in the ideal mood while you train a skill will save you around 25% of the usual training time, and if you have them in a strong very state, such as being very confident, then this will increase to save around 35% of the usual time. A quick side note is that you can also purchase and read horse riding skill books to train this skill too, but let's be honest here, riding a horse is the superior choice. At level 2 of the skill, you'll be able to canter or go on intense horse rides, which essentially just means that you can ride your horse fast. Then at level 3, you can direct horses to practice jumps and barrels by themselves, meaning that you can go and do your own thing while your horses train up their jumping and agility skills. When you reach level 4, you'll be able to discuss horse riding and be less likely to be bucked off a horse. At level 5, you'll no longer become tense occasionally when riding, and you'll also be able to intensely train with horse jumps and barrels. This increases a horse's jumping or agility skill faster, but will also make them fatigue more quickly as well. When you reach level 7, you'll no longer get bucked off of horses, and at level 8 you'll be able to share horse riding tips with other sims, which provides them with the tiniest bit of horse riding skill gain, literally minuscule, don't really recommend it. At level 9 you'll be more likely to become confident when horse riding, and then when you max the skill at level 10 you'll unlock the horse riding ironwork signage object. It should be noted that a sim's horse riding skill is also factored in when participating in competitions and when completing community jobs, and I'll talk more about these later. Now let's take a look at the 4 skills that your horses can learn, being temperament, endurance, jumping, and agility. If you don't want to train these yourself, then you can use the equestrian center or the ranch community board to send your horse training, whereby they'll gain a level. Keep in mind that this does cost a few simoleons, with higher levels costing more. And now to focus on the skills individually. Starting with temperament, a horse's temperament skill can be raised by socializing with them, and a higher temperament level will improve the success rate of socialization with both sims and other horses, and even unlock some social interactions. Horses will also be less likely to buck their riders at level 4 temperament, lessening even more at level 7, and at level 9 temperament they'll never buck their rider again. At level 4 temperament, you can ask your horse about controlling your temper when you're in an angry mood, which will help reduce the duration of your sim's current angry moodlets. At level 6 temperament, if your own sim is in a sad mood, then they will be able to seek emotional support from their horse, which will massively cut down how long their current sad moodlets will last for. Later at level 7, you'll be able to ask your horse about dealing with sims, and this interaction will provide you with a confident moodlet for a few hours. hours. And while this moodlet is active, your sim will train their charisma skill at an increased rate. Let's look at the endurance skill next, and this is trained by going on rides with your horse. A higher endurance level will mean that your horse won't become fatigued as quickly by both going on rides or by training obstacles. As you level up, you'll unlock a few unique socials, and at level 2 endurance, you'll become less fatigued using horse barrels and jumping obstacles. This bonus increases at level 4, level 6, and then again at level 9 endurance. At level 7 endurance, your horse will recover more quickly from being fatigued, and most interestingly, at level 8 endurance, you can ask your horse for fitness advice. This will provide you with a confident moodlet for 3 hours, and while it's active, your sim will train their fitness skill at a faster rate. Get ready to jump now with the jumping skill. This is done by having your horses use the horse jumps obstacle, and note that while you can find these around the world of Chestnut Ridge, they are also objects that you can buy. Leveling will increase your horse's jumping proficiency and unlock a few social interactions along the way. At level 5, you'll be able to have your horse practice advanced jumps after adding advanced jumping rails to the object, which lets you train the jumping skill faster, but also leads to more fatigue. Most notably at level 7 jumping, you can ask your horse about jumping mechanics. This will give your sim a confident moodlet for 3 hours, during which time they'll train their video gaming skill faster. Finally, there's the agility skill, and this is trained by getting your horse to engage with the barrel's obstacles. Again, while you can find them around Chestnut Ridge, these are also buyable objects. Leveling will make your horses better at barrel racing and unlock some fun social interactions too. At level 5 agility, your horses can race barrels, which trains agility faster but also fatigues your horse more quickly. Then at level 7, you can ask your horse about being quick on their feet. This will give your sim a confident moodlet for a few hours, during which time they'll train their dancing and fitness skills faster. Also a quick note that for all 4 of these horse skills, reaching level 10 will unlock a respective sign in buy mode. Let's turn our attention to traits now, and horses can have up to 3 standard traits from a pool of 11, but know that horses you breed will be given one of 3 additional bonus traits: being playful, curious, or hardy, and I'll talk more about these when we look at horse breeding. Horses can also earn the champion horse trait by placing in a master competition, and this will pass down the champion genes trait to foals, and I'll talk about this later as well. Now let's take a look at the 11 standard traits. Aggressive horses will act meaner towards other sims and horses, making them harder to befriend and more difficult to train. Friendly horses will have more successful social interactions, making it a lot easier to become their friend. Sims can also get stable gossip from friendly horses, providing them with a +2 playful moodlet for 4 hours. Brave horses are unfazed by bad weather or danger and have a higher chance of success when using horse jumps and barrels. They can also comfort other horses in order to stop them from being spooked as well. If a sim is good friends with a brave horse and they have an active fear, then they'll be able to bask in their bravery. And this interaction will remove every single fear that the sim currently has. Yes, every single one of them, making it pretty much the best way to deal with fears in the game. Besides, like, you know, turning them off. This will also provide your sim with a confident +3 moodlet for 6 hours. Fearful horses will often become spooked, so they'll benefit from being around a brave horse, but know that you can also interact with them to help get them settled. Additionally, fearful horses will be slower to gain the temperament skill. Energetic horses will gain all the athletic skills of endurance, agility, and jumping faster, but are slower to learn the temperament skill. Mellow horses will gain the temperament skill faster, but conversely will gain the 3 other athletic skills slower. If you're friends with a mellow horse who's happy or confident, then you can use the mellow out interaction on them, giving you a happy +2 moodlet for 4 hours. Independent horses will see their social need decay slower and generally won't need as much attention as other horses. Needy horses are the opposite, and will find that their social need decays faster, and thus they need more frequent social interaction. They'll also approach sims on occasion to get their attention. Defiant horses are harder to train and will develop all skills more slowly, while also having a higher chance of failing when using horse jumps and barrels. Intelligent horses will learn all 4 of the horse skills at a faster rate, which is super handy. In addition, they have a few rather unique, quirky, and somewhat complex social interactions, such as being able to converse about being in a simulation or alternatively discuss the possibility of time travel. Finally, we have free spirit horses, who hate being indoors and love running around out in the open. They'll also prefer to sleep outdoors even if you have a nice barn set up for them. Now, did your ears perk when I mentioned bonus horse traits from breeding? No? Okay, please just say yes and make me happy, because we're about to trot into all things horse breeding. Maybe I should say mount into horse breeding. Nope, bad imagery. We'll go with trot. Adult and elder male stallions are able to breed with adult female mares. Note that elder female mares are unable to breed. Once you are friends with a horse, then in friendly interactions you'll be able to encourage them to breed with another horse that they know and ideally have a positive relationship with. I find that this is usually successful, but it won't always be, and there is a cooldown on this. Once the G-rated horse woohoo is complete, then there's a good chance that the mare will become pregnant. While pregnant, mares can't be ridden, train on obstacles, enter competitions, or complete community jobs. And I'll talk more about competitions and community jobs shortly. Pregnant mares will also see their energy and hunger lower faster, meaning they'll both require more rest and more food. After a few days, your horse will go into labor, during which time you can soothe them, or pretend to soothe them, before then walking away while the labor continues. Soon after, a little foal will be born, who will be adorably unsteady on their feet for a hot minute. Foals that your horses give birth to will gain one of 3 bonus traits. Furious horses like exploring objects and using jumps and barrels more. Playful horses love playing with both toys and sims. And finally, hardy horses are able to train for longer without becoming fatigued, and they will also eat more. If a foal's parent has the championship horse trait, which I'll talk about very soon, then their offspring will also receive the championship genes trait. Horses with this trait will improve all their skills faster and are also able to be sold for more. Foals can feed from their mother or be bottle fed, and when hungry you can train them to eat hay provided that you have some prairie grass hay in your inventory, but note that you cannot hand feed foals until they reach level 4 in the temperament skill. Now let's turn our attention to money making with horses, because right now all I've told you is that you can sell your horse's poop. And while yes, selling manure is very exciting, stay with me after I reveal that perhaps there are even more exciting ways to make money through horses. Firstly, as you might have already put together, you can make money being a horse breeder. That's right, at the equestrian center or from the action section of horse interactions you can sell your horse. And this includes newly born foals, which will generally be worth around 1,000 simoleons. Next up is to become a horse trainer. You can buy and raise horses, and once they have a few skills and competition wins under their belt, then you will be able to sell them for much more than you initially paid for them. And highly trained horses can be worth a small fortune, upwards of 20 or even 30,000 simoleons. A horse's worth is based off of their traits, their age, their competition wins or awards, and their skill levels. And horse training can very easily be combined with horse breeding. Moving on now to competing in competitions. This can be done from the equestrian hall or from the ranch community board object. And while riders can compete in multiple competitions per day, a single horse can only compete once per day. There are 4 competition categories, being barrel racing, endurance racing, show jumping, and western pleasure. Each of these has 4 difficulty stages, going from beginner to intermediate, expert, and finally master. And placing first, second, or third in a stage will unlock the difficulty above it for that category. For example, once a horse places first, second, or third for beginner show jumping, then they'll unlock the ability to compete in intermediate show jumping. How well you do in competitions is determined by a number of factors, including your rider's horse riding level, your horse's mood, with negative mood slightly reducing the chance of winning, and positive mood slightly improving your chance of winning, and finally your horse's skill levels. Each competition category focuses on 2 of the 4 horse skills. For barrel racing, it's agility and endurance. For endurance racing, it's endurance and jumping. For show jumping, it's jumping and temperament. And finally, for Western pleasure, it's temperament and agility. If you want to come first, second, or third, then you'll ideally want to meet or be close to the recommended skill levels, which are shown alongside your own skill levels when you go to enter a competition. Competitions are rabbit hole events that only take a few hours, and once finished, your horse will emerge with their result and a trophy if they come first, second, or third. Horses who have placed in the master difficulty in all 4 events will also be able to compete in the Ultimate Horse Championship too, and while it costs 2,000 simoleons to enter, a win here will net you 6,000 simoleons, so there is big money to be made. Now, once a horse manages to place first, second, or third in a master difficulty competition, they'll gain the champion horse trait, which will mean that their foals will be born with the champion genes trait that we talked about earlier. Overall, competing in competitions with horses is a fun, consistent, and rather lucrative way to make money. One more way to make money through horses is to take on community jobs. This can be actioned from a ranch community board, and they are quick rabbit hole events that will provide you with a payout, with the amount of money that you receive fluctuating depending on the job, your horse riding skill, and your horse's skills. Completing a community job can even raise your horse riding skill and your horse's skill levels too. Additionally, if your sim has the horse lover trait, then they can even get extra tips on their jobs to increase their payout. While overall community jobs aren't massively lucrative, they can still provide your sims with a nice amount of pocket money. Now, just before finishing up, a few quick tips. Firstly, horses can go through pretty much any door, so lock them accordingly, or don't if you like the idea of them coming into your home. On the other hand, if you're riding a horse, then you'll only be able to go through a select few doors, such as the medium-sized barn doors that come with the horse ranch pack. Next, consider having a sim who plans on competing in competitions pick up the Championship Rider aspiration. Completing this awards you with the Grand Champ Trainer trait, which allows you to train horses faster and sell horses for higher prices, become confident more often when riding and training horses, and horses will have more fun when you ride them too. In addition, you'll be able to give competition advice to sims, giving them a confident moodlet for a few hours. Moving on, and you may want to have your sim pick up the horse lover trait. This will make your sim have an easier time socializing with and caring for horses, let you tell jokes to other sims about horses, and can see you earn extra money through tips when you complete community jobs. Note that horse lover sims can also feel emotions based on nearby horses' moods, and so if a nearby horse is sad, then your horse lover sim will often get a sad moodlet themselves. Similarly, if you are running a ranch, then the rancher trait will come in handy, providing sims with positive moodlets and even seeing them gain fun while they perform ranch chores. On the flip side though, sims with this trait can become tense if their ranch is in a bad state. Finally, consider the Wild Prairie Grass Lot Challenge, which is absolutely not challenging at all, and it will simply see more prairie grass pop up and spread around your lot. And with that, we're at the end. That's everything you need to know about horses in The Sims 4. If you enjoyed or found this helpful, then please subscribe and leave a like. I would really appreciate it, and I hope that you have an amazing day. See you later!